Hi everyone, my name is Lise from Ellii, formerly known as ESL Library, and today I'm going to show you our open-ended questions that you can find in our digital task activities. I've gone ahead and chosen an advanced level class called The Rise of Inflation that you can find in our section called That's News to Me. So let's take a look at this type of task by going to our task player at the bottom. In this lesson, you can see that we've got two different types of open-ended questions here, one called comprehension and the other one called discussion and writing. The comprehension questions are based on the reading that your students would have read at the beginning of the lesson. The discussion and writing take the themes from the reading, but ask general questions for your students to answer. Let's start by looking at the comprehension questions. Right away, you can see that the students are prompted with a question and are given a space to write their answers. As I mentioned before, all of these questions are based on the reading, so you can always use the View Reference button to access the reading that the questions are related to. If you're doing this activity in class with your students and sharing your screen, you can ask your students to read the question out loud and try to answer on their own. This can stimulate a discussion on the topic and give your student a chance to practice their speaking skills. If you are sharing your screen, you are the one who will have to do the typing, so your students can dictate the answer for you and you can type it in the box. Another option would be to assign this activity as homework to your students, which they would then complete at home on their own. After submitting the answers, they would go directly to you and you would be able to give your corrections and send it back to them. Let's take a quick look at our other open-ended activity by going back to the task list and clicking on the discussion and writing. Let's change our task and click Start. On this open-ended question, you'll notice that there's no reference document, and that's because these questions are not actually based on the reading. These are personal questions where your students are encouraged to express their own opinions and feelings. Take this question, for example. How have your spending habits changed since before the pandemic? There's no right or wrong answer to this question, so students are encouraged to simply write what's true for them. For example, my habits have not changed. As you can see, this is also a great opportunity to practice spelling and grammar structure. Perhaps when your students are answering, they don't use the correct structure. This is a great way for you to correct them and show them a proper example. Continue this way by clicking through until you get to the end. On the last question, it will take you to this section where you have the opportunity to review your answers. If you're doing this activity in class with your students and sharing your screen, perhaps this step is not necessary. You will have already talked through your answers with your students and most likely given them your corrections. However, if you've assigned this as homework, this is a great opportunity for students to look back at the answers that they wrote and make any changes that are necessary. I forgot this question. I can click here where it will take me back and I can write my answer. When the student is happy with all of their answers or you're finished with your lesson, you can go back up to your task list and choose another activity. Let's imagine the student wants to submit their homework. They click this button and it will take them to their end page. If you're looking for more information on how to assign digital tasks as homework to your students, take a look at the links below. So that's all for the demo on open-ended questions. I hope I've given you some creative ways that you can use this in your classroom soon. Thank you and happy teaching.